Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, which is Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Harakakadash is the Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well. They have the 100% truth. And peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. I want to show you this video, part of this video of Gaddafi. Let me show you the video and his significance. We'll just, the Lord using him as an example, that, you can't, this is Esau's realm, man. This is Esau's kingdom, man. This is his time to rule, okay? Because what Gaddafi was trying to do, what was the name? Muammar Gaddafi. What he was trying to do is, what he did was do away with the American dollar, and he did his own thing, He backed his currency, Libya, their currency up by gold, and they're they were getting rich, man. Okay, Libya was getting rich, doing their own thing, aside from America, Babylon the Great, and America wasn't having it, So what did they do? They set up a coup like they always do. They went down there, set up a coup, blamed him for being terroristic, being a terrorist, They interviewed him right here, trying to have him slip up his words, which he didn't. He did a pretty good job, but, America, they wanted their way. America wanted to kill Gaddafi, and that's exactly what they did. They killed him, and they seized Libya, okay? And Libya went under subjection under, the so-called white man, Esau, America, But yeah, I'm gonna play parts of this video, most of the video, just listen in and listen to what he's saying, and also listen to, take heed to, what this white man, this Edomite, was asking Gaddafi, man. They're trying to have him slip up his words, trying to paint a picture, categorize him like Esau always does, categorize him as a terrorist, and his views as terrorism, just because he does things his own way, he does things separate from Babylon the Great, okay? All right, so but basically, Esau, what he's been doing to the men of the Lord, the prophets lately. He categorizes you as a terrorist, saying you're this and that, and then he corners you, he puts you in a box, and then he comes down, he justifies his wrath, he justifies himself coming down upon you with great wrath. And what has he been doing lately? Setting up these coups, setting up these, false events, man, these false flags, linking us to these people that we have nothing to do with, like Grandmaster J, or is that his name? We have, the men of the Lord have nothing to do with him, okay? The men of Great Millstone and the same, the men are preaching the same gospel, they have nothing to do with him, all right? Because, the men of the Lord don't condone the actions, of, being carnal, arming ourselves with weapons, attacking Edomites, with our bare hands, we don't condone those actions, We're actually doing the opposite, The Lord commanded us to preach this kingdom down to the ground, to preach it down to the ground, Preach the kingdom, into existence, to not by our own hands, All right, but yeah, Gaddafi was a example, for what Esau is gonna do to us. He's gonna persecute the man of the Lord just like he did Gaddafi, but the Lord isn't gonna let Esau lay his hands upon the men of the Lord. All right, I mean, some of the men of the Lord are gonna be martyrs. Some of the elect are prophesied to be martyrs, but uh, ultimately, most of the elect aren't gonna be touched by Esau, because the Lord's gonna raise that standard upon his elect, to combat against Esau's martial law troops. His his sword, man. Okay, all right. Because what Esau is really doing is waging war against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his men. Okay, which Esau is going to be totally unsuccessful. All right, he's going to look stupid. All right, the Lord is gonna utterly make Esau desolate, man, in this wicked ass decrepit place. All right, just watch the video, man. Let me show you this video. But yeah, take heed to what's being said. Okay. I hope the volume's on. Let me skip. Let's lock it. See what he says. The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. That's why he said that. You know. All right, stop and listen to what he's asking him. He's putting him in a box. Categorizing him. He's asking him certain questions. You know, not any old questions. He's asking him questions to so he could slip up. These questions that are yes or no, but these the truth is something else. So Gaddafi was in he was in a position where he had to deflect all these questions were that were trying to condemn him, trying to categorize him. He did a pretty good job, but Gaddafi isn't no Israelite. He might be an Israelite, but he has nothing to do with this truth. The Lord just raised him up for as an example in these times right now. What Gaddafi, like I said earlier, what he was trying to do was his own thing. Try to do his own thing while Esau was ruling. And what did Esau do? He eventually went down there over there in Libya and assassinated him. And took over Libya. All right. Let me show you the rest of the video. Mind you, they've the U.S. under Obama eventually went down there in Libya, set up a coup. And basically the U.S. eventually assassinated him. Which is pretty. You know, you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously spiritual, but eventually, the U.S. ended up killing him. And then him asking him that question, what would you want him? What would you want to be written on your tombstone? And then the translator asking him a different question. See, Esau's a tricky, sly bastard, man. Right, and I'm gonna bring some precepts after that. All right. But here's the rest of the video. Let me see how much time I got left. 4 minutes. All right, under 4 minutes. All right. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Esau was all up in his face. Being all nice, gesturous. But eventually they ended up killing him. Okay. This is Sirach 12:16. The enemy speaks with his lips. That Edomite was, being all sweet, being all friendly. Okay. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. All right. They eventually killed Gaddafi. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. All right, they killed him, and they eventually took over Libya, and did whatever they wanted to him. Who knows what else they went down there to do? Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. All right, speaking about Esau the wicked. All right, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, and they drew a sword against Gaddafi and his revolution, his against Libya and the people in Libya. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 12:11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. How it says, though he humble himself, go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. All right. Esau comes up to you all humble, when someone's crouching, When you're crouching, you're below somebody. You're in a humble state. Esau, well, what does he like to do? Speak to you all nice, all flattering. Then later on, he's thinking about trying to overthrow you. Get over you. And there's many examples of that, man. Okay. But yeah, that is, even though Gaddafi and Libya are isn't Israel, but Esau, this isn't your kingdom, man. I mean, this is Esau's kingdom. This isn't our kingdom. All right, this is and then we have Israelites now, who are trying to build here. Build up Israel here. First, we gotta Esau got to go down. Two rulers can't rule at once. All right. Pray that this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakadash, and DTA. Shalom.